boy, that's how we're starting the show with boy, because I'll tell you,
Boy.
oh boy, we're excited because we got Sunday Night Fiction Club starting a little late for those who are watching live. I see we got some live viewers right now. Thank you. Thanks for sticking with us. Melissa had some problems tonight. Unfortunately, she had to take care of. And Melissa, we're not going to miss having you on the show, but I got two last minute, very wonderful people. Well, you know what? They've been very wonderful people for more than just the last minute, but they are last minute guest co hosts on the show tonight. So I'd like to welcome the lovely and talented Xavier Granville to the
Oh,
show.
me first. Very nice.
Yes. Well, we're going to go alphabetically here. And also the lovely and talented Michelle Reed. So welcome to the show, Michelle.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, hi. Tonight's topic is going to be dumb movies we love, because who doesn't love a good dumb movie, right?
Yay.
I do.
And I do too. I do too. But what we normally do on this show, now, Michelle, I know you're fairly new to the show, but usually Melissa and I start out, because, we call it Sunday Night Fiction Club, we talk about if we're currently reading anything and what we're currently enjoying. Have you been, I know you've been busy getting ready to release a book this next coming week, but have you been reading anything lately?
My book over and over.
Oh, well,
I'm very tired of it.
I hear that from writers a lot, like right before they're, and I know that with editing my own stuff, I'm like, okay, I want to move on to something else now. I love it, but I'm ready to move on. Yeah. So,
I just started reading Divergent, but I'm not really. It's okay.
Yeah, I've heard some mixed things about that. I've heard people having mixed reactions to that. I know that it was just recently a movie too, wasn't it? Or maybe I'm thinking of something else. Oh,
no,
okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I don't know much about it, but I've heard. I know it made bestseller lists. I guess it was like in the top 10, but I've heard some very, very mixed reactions on that one. How about you, Mr. Granville? What have you been reading lately?
Well, Mr. Gott.
We're very formal tonight on the Sunday Night Fiction Club.
Of course, as always. Like the last time that I come on, I'm still been reading through the Jim Henson biography. I've gotten much further than where I was before, but it's a very long novel. But I've also been tinkering away at Elantris by Brandon Sanderson, a big epic fantasy book. Very fun, very dark, and gritty. Not something that you would really expect from the epic fantasy genre, where you got your stable boy, you got to go fight the bad guy. It's very not that. So I'm a fan of the way that he kind of plots his novels out. He begins things out with a very atypical world, and then throws these characters in it that just really builds a lot of drama, as well as embraces the whole world building aspect of it. At the same time, I've been reading The Atlantis Plague by A.G. Riddle. That's a big one that's on Amazon. It's very much kind of like a Dan Brown, high intensity, fast paced action thriller with some old school history mixed in with mythology and all this stuff, so it's a lot of fun, very high paced, kind of like the Da Vinci Code, but on that full on conspiracy 9/11 Atlantis level.
Oh, wow. Okay. And
Wow.
yeah, it sounds pretty good. And you mentioned I got to try Brandon Sanderson, because you've raved to me before about him. Carl Sinclair, who I just saw checked in on the comments. Geek Walker is here with us. I know Carl is like probably the biggest Carl. Not Carl Sanderson. Carl Sinclair would like that though. Brandon Sanderson fan in the world. Yeah. For me,
he's a Sanderson junkie.
He is. I thought I would just pull out the Kindle and see like the most recent thing that I read on here, or that I'm reading, and well, that's Hot Nuns in Leather, but I don't want to talk about that one right now. Yeah,
of course,
it's a good book, Xavier. I'll loan it to you later. I'm actually reading Dark Crossings by Sean Platt and David W. Wright. That is a collection. They have actually 3 collections of their short stories. This is like the collection of all 3 of those collections.
Yeah,
so.
I picked that up as well. I definitely preferred to pick up the whole giant bundle.
Yeah.
So there's a 12 all together?
18 stories. 18. Yeah.
Even better. 18. Why not 18?
why not 18? And by two very, very talented writers, and they're cool guys too. So, and I've only read a couple of the stories in here so far, but they're really good. Like the first one is very much, and it's cool because I don't know if all the stories have this, but this one had author notes at the end of it. And Sean said he was sort of gone for like a Twilight Zone vibe from the old
Mhm.
Twilight Zone show, and
Yeah.
I definitely got that. I kind of felt that even as I read it before I read his author notes, because it seemed like it was just this very clever, very cool story, and had that little twist in there like the Twilight Zone episodes did. So good stuff.
Yeah. No, no, that's what I really appreciated out of that kind of the Dark Crossing series. Like originally when I first got into those guys, and I'd first heard about all the different series that they were taking on. I first got onto White Space, which I loved, and the reason I got onto it because I'd read Unicorn Western, and then as a part of with a lot of authors, you'll have your you know review this thing and you'll get a book in return. So
Right.
I sent him an email just saying like, here's the review for Unicorn Western, and I got White Space in return. And just because my name is Xavier, and the Respero Dinner has the one short story from Dark Crossings, Respero Dinner, which went on to become
The
kind of
Beam.
the
Right.
basis of the Beam. In Respero Dinner, there's a character called Xavier. Just because of the name, Sean sent that story as well.
Oh, that's pretty cool. It's
Yeah,
very
just
cool.
just as a nice little thing, and
Yeah.
I loved that, and I just really enjoyed like that whole the Twilight Zone esque feel to the whole Dark Crossings things. I love that episodic, one off little short stories that, in general, they may not actually build one giant thing, but it makes you question something.
hmm Yeah, I agree with you.
And those are some of my favorite little things.
Awesome, awesome. And yeah, if you're watching the show and you're not familiar with those guys, I would check them out. Like I said, David Wright, he writes with Sean Platt. Sean Platt also writes with Johnny B. Truin. So look up Sean on Amazon or wherever, and you're going to see like a bunch of his stuff that he's done with both of them. So we're going to be starting here in a second. Um,
We already started?
oh, yeah. I mean, starting with the topic. Yeah, no, we're on the air. We're on the air. I'm sorry. Michelle sent me a message in the chat, and I was just trying to see that. Sure. But let's go with our topic here tonight. Like I said, it's dumb movies we love, and we're gonna let's start out with one from you, Michelle.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go with The Princess Bride or Robin Hood Men in Tights first.
Those aren't bad movies.
Well, he said dumb, and
Okay,
some
yeah.
people
Yeah.
think that they're
Well,
dumb.
see, those are definitely dumb in the sense that they're very funny movies and very clever, but at the same time, really,
Really
playing up.
smart.
Yeah.
Yes, really
Really
smart.
smart in being so dumb.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, Robin Hood Men in Tights. Now, I think that one is hilarious, and I think a lot of times with Mel Brooks movies, you can be. I've watched those with some people, and they'll see like a little, like one of the songs in there, and they'll think, "Oh my God, this is dumb. What are you watching?" And that usually makes me like question my relationship with that person because that's
Yeah.
usually really funny stuff. And Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah.
Oh, so many. Oh, what was the one character? Was someone character named Achu?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but it's
Yeah,
hilarious.
I'm pretty sure that guy's played by Dave Chappelle.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
yeah, it
that's
is.
right.
It's
That's
young. I know. I don't know if his character is Chu, but I know Dave Chappelle is one of those the monk character.
That was my
Um,
introduction to Dave Chappelle, and I was like, "Who's that guy? He's funny."
and I didn't even
Yeah,
realize that was Dave Chappelle. I'm one that actually doesn't know too much about Dave Chappelle. I've always heard about Dave Chappelle. Like I
You
think
don't
I've
have
only
to know
seen.
too much about him.
No.
There's not really a lot to know.
well, there's this much, and then at some point he quit his show on MTV or whatever it was, and then moved off to Africa because Bill Cosby threatened him or something like that.
Yeah, well,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Cosby threatened me once, and I moved out of the country for a while, but we
well,
kind of ironed things out. I wore the same sweater as he did at one function, and it kind of got
I didn't
ugly.
know they made 2 of those sweaters.
Well, Bill didn't know that either, and he was pissed.
Yeah, and what a phone call that would have been. Buddy,
Please, someone do a Bill Cosby
please stop
impersonation.
wearing my sweaters.
It's like you were there.
I know you like to wear them, but you know what? They're my sweaters, so would you stop wearing them?
Is that word for word and with the tone? That's exactly what it sounded like when Bill called me. But like I said, we're good now. We're good now.
Yeah, he would have been very forceful, but never swearing. He would have said things like "flim-a-flam" instead of the F word or something like that. Retardation, diddly dap dap wap.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic! All right, Xavier, since you're on a roll, what's one of your favorite dumb movies?
Well, let's see. I've been looking through just like some things to remind me because I've seen way too many. That's the real problem.
That's not a problem.
Well,
I agree.
When it comes to pull upon like one of your favorite ones, well, I'm a big fan of. Have you guys ever heard of the film company called Asylum?
I don't think so.
Do I have to turn in my nerd card?
No, not really. Well, you would have seen these guys if you went to like a random like Walmart or something like that. They're the company that puts out the film that is like the film that is a major Hollywood blockbuster. So they're the guys that are responsible for Transmorphers.
Oh, okay.
Or like that kind of like that, things like that. And so instead of like Pacific Rim, it's Atlantic Rim. It's something that your grandmother would pick up if she was confused at a Kmart.
A lot of those people out there.
Like, I thought that this was the one. You can return it. I got the receipt. That kind of a thing. And Netflix is littered with them.
Oh yeah, I've seen all those kinds of movies on there.
So I constantly watch those, and those are so fun. Some of those guys are responsible for Sharknado.
Oh, okay. I still haven't seen Sharknado in its entirety.
In its entirety. So you watched for like a couple minutes, then fell
I'll tell
asleep?
you, it was the most awesome thing in the world. I was in a bar, right, and I was watching this great Black Sabbath tribute band, right?
Oh, good.
So they are up on the stage, and they're jamming. They sound fantastic. Everyone's banging their heads. But on the large widescreen TV in the bar, they have Sharknado playing, and of course it's muted. But so I'm like jamming out to this Sabbath tribute band, and I'm looking up at sharks flying through a tornado, and Ian Ziering from Beverly Hills 90210 trying to keep things in order, and it was just it was kind of surreal. I got to tell you, Sharknado's with the Black Sabbath tribute band.
You'll never forget it.
I never will. I never will.
Yeah, I could go on about Sharknado forever. That's no problem.
Well, we're going to pause on that for a second. You can talk more about it if you like, but I just wanted to touch upon our comments. We do have a lot of people watching live, so I appreciate that. Thank you. Geek Walker, that would be Mr. Carl Sinclair. He chimed in. He said he was here, and he said, at least you made the show a bit more aesthetically pleasing by having Michelle on to join you and Xavier.
No, thank you, Carl.
Yay!
Yes.
A nice, compliment for Michelle and a nice insult for both me and Buddy.
Well,
they cancel each other out. Don't worry.
It's a trifecta. It ends up being pretty mulatto in the end.
He probably just wants something.
Carl also brought up another Mel Brooks movie, Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Spaceballs is a good dumb movie.
So fun.
I don't know Spaceballs, so I'm bowing out of this one.
Okay, are you a Star Wars fan?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, it really, really spoofs Star Wars in there, and it's not one I've seen a lot. I've seen it maybe 2 or 3 times over the years. I liked it a lot. Probably not in my top 5 Mel Brooks movies, though. But it's got some.
People always tell me to watch it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, I'll be the person that instead of just telling you to watch it, I will say, watch it. Watch
Well,
it. Watch it
just
right now.
start recording.
Stop right now. Don't even talk to me. I don't want to listen to you anymore. Just
Wait till
turn.
after 11:15. That's about when we're gonna end.
It'll be very
Maybe.
next. I'll watch it after the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be forceful about it. Just
Remember, wasn't there one
I
part?
heard
Well, what is it? Instead of Jabba the Hutt, you have Pizza the Hutt,
yeah, Pizza the Hut.
which is
You
ridiculous, but it's
Instead
funny.
of Yoda, you got yogurt.
Right, right. May the
Instead
Schwartz
of-
be with you.
Yeah, may the Schwartz be with you. There's the instead of Chewie, you got John Candy playing like a half dog man named
Oh,
Barf.
yeah. Right,
oh,
right.
I've seen that. Yeah.
And of course, Barf is short for Bartholomew.
All right, I'll watch it. Ask me about it tomorrow. I'll watch
Okay.
it.
One part that I always thought was ridiculous, but it was funny, where I guess they were combing the desert, but then what was it, two black guys with like a really big pick?
Yeah,
Remember that, Xavier?
this
Yeah.
big Afro pick, and they're making really slow time about it, while the other guys have like the 40-piece comb because they're the white they're the white guys in the big comb.
I want to bring up another comment here. This is actually, I think, Michelle, you know this gentleman. His name is John Reed. He's referring, I believe, to Dave Chappelle here. And he said he never actually quit the show. He just hasn't showed up for work in 8 years.
You
Yeah.
might want to get paid
Yeah.
soon.
No, that's an actual quote. Like Chappelle had said that on a David Letterman show recently, because finally people were starting to come to him about like, hey man, so what happened there when you went crazy for a little while?
And John also brings up another great Mel Brooks movie, and that's Young Frankenstein. Frankenstein.
Would
Frankenstein.
you like to have a roll in the hay?
Like he was,
The
he
giant
was my
knockers.
boyfriend. Such a great cast in that. Oh my! I love Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder is hilarious.
Yeah, no, he's definitely one of my favorite just comedic actors, as far as just like his face in general, just like emotes comedy in
It
general.
really does.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was. I know he's retired from acting now, but it was such a funny actor. And then of course, Cloris Leachman in there, Terry Garr, Madeline Kahn, who I always thought was hilarious. That she was in Blazing Saddles too, and I think one or two other Mel Brooks movies, maybe History of the World. I think she might have had a role in there. But that's another great one. Let me just see what else we have here in the comments. Liam Kingman, he's trying to be here, but he's having some internet problems. So Liam, I hope you're able to watch us live.
Smoke signals.
Smoke signals. Darren Waremouth, he joined in on the comments, and let me bring Darren's up here. Darren's also got somebody.
Darren's gonna say hot butt.
Well,
I'm predicting the future.
Oh, okay. Well, not in this one, but I think he might have said that on Facebook. On here, he said he loved Police Academy 4, Citizens on Patrol, that whole Zed and Sweet Chuck dynamic. And yeah, when we came up with the topic for the show, the Police Academy movies definitely popped in my head.
Yeah, like everything after that first one, really, it started just slowly getting into ridiculous.
Yeah, the first one, it definitely had your, quote-unquote dumb humor. And like we said, that's kind of like a subjective thing with these movies.
Well,
but...
like, there's dumb humor, and then there's slapstick humor, So, like...
Right. And there's very clever dumb humor. Look at something like Anchorman. Some people might watch that and think it's, like, idiotic, but there's some such fantastic lines in there.
But that second one was a pile of horse manure.
I still haven't seen it because I have not heard one person say they loved it. I've heard, it's
I haven't
good.
seen it either.
Yeah, did you like the first one, Michelle?
I liked the first one, but I heard the second one was garbage, so I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
I didn't even have much high hopes for that second one, but when I watched it, I almost felt like sick.
Oh wow! Oh, I'm disheartened to hear that. But
It just pushed it way too much. Like there were some really funny things about it, but the story was balls. If I can just say balls, it was balls.
You can say balls on Sunday Night Fiction Club. Will Ferrell's kind of been losing me over the years. I gotta say, when he first, I was a fan of him on Saturday Night Live, and he was in one of my favorite dumb movies of all time. And somebody else mentioned, I'll give them props later when I look at it on Facebook. But A Night at the Roxbury. Did you guys ever see that? With the two brothers, and that's a great. Yeah, that's a great dumb movie.
Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan. Chris Kattan was one of my favorite SNL alumni from that time, that '90s period. He was
agree with
a very funny guy.
Yeah, very, very funny guy. And for whatever reason, his career hasn't seemed to really take off since then. I know,
Well, he's just too quirky and
yeah, he
like
is quirky.
But if Martin Short can find a place on Cat in the Hat, then surely Chris can find something.
That's true. And don't call me Shirley.
Mike Myers was Cat in the Hat, and don't call him
No, I
Shirley.
mean, but you don't have PBS because you don't have kids. But Martin Short is animated Cat in the Hat.
Oh, is
Well,
like every day on my TV.
yeah, but that's what I mean. But that's animated, and all he has to do is lend his voice.
Yeah.
So that's
saying.
definitely easy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and Martin Short, he had made X amount of millions of dollars already at this point. So of course they're going to keep him employed. Why not? He's Martin Short.
And I'm sure he's going to pop up in Father of the Bride 3.
Yeah.
They just announced that they're going to make Father of the Bride 3.
Yeah, actually,
really?
that's
Yeah.
that. Speaking of Martin Short, that's one really bad movie that I want to bring up.
No.
Yes.
What, Father of the Bride?
No, not Father. That's a good movie.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, Michelle and I were just about to drop you with a friend, I think.
Yeah,
No,
we were gonna
I
like
said-
X you
I
out
said
of this call.
I said speaking of Martin Short, not speaking of Father of the Bride.
Okay. All right, but please continue.
Have either of you guys seen Clifford?
Yes. That was probably the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
Michelle? Clifford? Not the big red dog. Not the big red dog. It's a movie where Martin Short plays a little kid,
Yes.
and it's kind of like like your problem child, like that movie, where just like that kid is the worst child, and he drives you bonkers, but it's Martin Short as the little kid,
Yes.
and
I have seen that. Yeah.
yeah, and Charles Grodin as the irritable uncle who has to deal with him for a week because he's staying in L.A. to go to see Dinosaur World or something like that. It's like Disney World, but I think it's Dinosaur World.
Yeah, I think
And
you're
so
right.
so the parents just can't stand putting up with this kid who is Martin Short, and is the most unconvincing of a child ever. It's there's another movie I'll bring up later.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I remember one thing about that is they did stupid things like they had him sitting like in a humongous chair to make him look like a small child. And
yeah,
things
no,
like that.
it's not good. These camera tricks do not work. They don't fool the people. Especially generations later when they have to watch it later on. They're like, what is this? He has Kermit the Frog legs. It's just like he's sitting inside the couch and like the legs are sticking out.
Yeah.
They're just like little felt things. Just wrong.
And I don't know if you remember the history of that, but that's one where it sat on the shelves of the movie company for well over a year. It might have even been a couple years where they did not want to release it because I guess they realized how bad it was.
Hey, why would they?
Yeah. Well, when I finally did sit down to watch it, I've always liked Martin Short. He can be a bit over the top sometimes, but I've always liked him, and I've always liked Charles Grodin. I mean, they're two actors I've always liked and respected an awful lot. But that was it was painful to watch. It really was. I didn't watch the whole thing. I couldn't. It was that bad.
Yeah. As a child, I thought it was pretty funny, and then like growing up, watching it a couple more times, it was even more. It was I thought it was even more funny because the more that because I studied film for a good 5 years, so when I'm watching really bad movies, it's a lot of just sitting back and going like, oh shit, what happened? It's not like you can't blame these people because there's budgetary things. Is it the writer? Is it the director? Is it the actor? You don't really know. There's so many variables of what could have gone wrong, and it did. It always does.
Nobody pulled the plug.
No, nobody could, and because there was too much money involved, you gotta at least put it out. We might make up for it in VHS sales. VHS sales.
Believe it, I doubt that one's even been released on DVD. I mean, I doubt it was that bad.
No. I remember having it on VHS, and that was, I think, it. I hope that there's a Blu-ray edition out at some point, because I will buy that. I will buy it. I will immediately.
I want to jump back and forth some to the comments because we do have a lot of comments here. So all who are watching and commenting live, we appreciate it. This is from Patrick Stemp. He says, "Evening all." Evening, Patrick. Getting settled in. Here's mine. The Core. Aaron Eckhart in a role made for a much worse actor. I did not see The Core. Okay.
I haven't either.
But I like this next one.
Yeah.
None of
a few people have mentioned this one. Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
Tim Allen in the role he was born to play. And also the other guys, Aim for the Bushes, Aim for the Bushes. One of my friends, one of my coworkers, I believe, mentioned the other guys, and I have not seen that one yet.
Yeah, I thought the other guys was pretty funny. I prefer Mark Wahlberg in a comedic role because to me he will always be Marky Mark. Like he's just like, hey, how you doing? Say hi to your mother for me. Like, he's always
That's where Carl Sinclair got it from. The whole, say hi to your mother for me.
Yeah,
That's what I told him. He said he had never heard Mark Wahlberg say that, and I was like, what?
No. There's whole Saturday Night Live sketches whole devoted to that. Mark Wahlberg at a zoo. You're like, hey, Mr. Turtle, how you doing? say hi to your mother for me.
That's great. That's great. Darren Waremouth in the comments. I don't know what Darren's even referring to here, but I'll bring this up too because I believe it to be true. I'm very important. I have many leather-bound books, and my apartment smells of rich mahogany. Okay, thank you. It took me a second. And that's not Darren speaking about himself, although I believe those things about Darren. He's referring to Anchorman. I'm like, why is Darren telling us how important it is? But now I get it. Anchorman was just the first one. You've got me convinced I'm never going to watch the second one, but the first one was brilliant. Yeah.
Let's talk about Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, let's talk about Galaxy. You like that one a lot then, huh, Michelle?
Yeah. Here's a fun fact. Tim Allen was my very first celebrity crush, and he still is.
Oh no!
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so did you go see that in the theaters then, since you had a big crush on Mr. Allen?
No, I didn't. No, I just watch it. at home a lot.
Alone?
Possibly.
You don't have to admit.
My husband loves it too.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what his because he was the whole thing with
Thor's hammer.
Yeah, no, that's Alan Rickman's character who does that thing.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Well, I loved how with Galaxy Quest, it's just a great spoof on Star Trek and that whole a television show that's from the 60s or the 70s, this really low budget thing that the fans just adore despite how low budget it is, and it was canceled at the wrong time, and that's why people have come to love it. And not only have people come to love it, but aliens have come to embrace it because of all the satellite transmissions that we've done. So these aliens think that Tim Allen and these group of actors who have been playing this sci-fi crew of space explorers, the aliens think that they're these actual people, so they bring them into outer space to actually help them solve their problems. And I think that's a great dynamic because you have these actors who are used to being sci-fi people, but actually don't know how to pilot a ship, even though they've been acting it for that many years.
Right.
It's a great dynamic.
Super drunk and super cranky, and so it doesn't really go very well.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've ever really liked Tim Allen though, because I'm in
Boo.
the minority. I'm sorry. I'm in the minority where
Yeah.
I was not a fan of Home Improvement. I did
You
not
are
like Home
not
Improvement.
in the minority.
No,
It was a
I
big hit show here in
it
America,
was.
Xavier.
Yeah, but at the same time, people hate him.
But when I saw that, I liked him in it, and it's made me like go ahead and watch him in other things where I have not, disliked him. And Sigourney Weaver, she was like, that was an uncharacteristic role for her. That was a different kind of role for
Mhm.
She
her.
was
She was,
great in it.
yeah. And Alan Rickman, I've loved Alan Rickman since Die Hard, and to see him playing this, like, I guess it was supposed to be
Hmm.
like the spoof on like a Spock character, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, exactly. And I like that because, like with the Spock character, it's like more of a Shakespearean role, like
Right.
it has a lot of, deeper metaphysical thinking to it,
And he's like a method actor, and he takes it real seriously.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. So like, and then years later, after having been method for that long, he just hates having to go back into that role. But like, for Thor's hammer or whatever, it's like, yeah, 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 blah blah blah, yeah, blah, shut up. he, you know, he really doesn't like it. I thought that was really funny.
But
Um,
Alan Rickman can do no wrong.
no,
Seriously.
Alan
no,
Rickman
he
is
he
great.
can't. The one thing that I will will say about Tim Allen, the reason why I really can't get behind him is because he, before he became a big actor and stand-up comedian, he was a coke dealer.
What? Don't tell me
Yeah, there's
that.
yeah,
I knew
I
he
will
did
tell
No,
you
time,
that.
but I wasn't sure why. I knew it was something like that.
Yeah,
not
he
listening.
did. Yeah, because he had a different name. His name is not Tim Allen. It's not Tim Allen. He is not a real person. It's fabricated because he was actually like involved. I think it was like in Chicago or something like that. He was involved with several different gangs and was dealing coke, and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
he ratted out so many people, changed his name, and then eventually became a stand-up comedian, and
Hmm.
then that prompted his
Wow,
career.
what a loser.
So
I still like him.
yeah, so I just love the mugshots of Tim
Mhm.
Allen back in like this like
I remember
early
you'd see them. He had
'80s.
like the early '80s mustache and
The big,
everything.
yeah, exactly. That mustache is perfect. He just looks like the big. He looks like the biggest piece of shit. I loved it. But like, and you just picture this guy, like doing like coke, and he's like, Tim Allen, the cops are coming. Eh? Dance, 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 dance.
Michelle, you just you had sent me a message and you brought up one that I have not seen, but
Oh
it's
my
another
gosh,
one
it's
that,
so good.
yeah, that Alan Rickman's in. You want to tell us what that
Mhm.
is?
It's Hitchhiker's Guide to the
Yes.
Galaxy.
Yay!
So good.
I didn't see the comment. Yeah, I love it.
I
Such a
Mhm.
haven't seen it because I've been
That
kind of
that
scared
is
to
your
because I
homework.
like the book. Yeah,
No,
no the
watch because Martin Freeman is in it, and Martin Freeman is like the best. He's the best.
who's
yeah you
Martin
got
Freeman? I hate to ask
And
that.
and
he
Zoe
was
Deschanel is in it, and
yeah
she has bangs.
Martin
So
Freeman. He was Bilbo Baggins in the new Hobbit movies.
mm,
Oh, okay.
He's
Wow.
been in Sherlock. He's
mhm.
Watson in that the BBC
Oh,
Sherlock.
wow. Okay. Was he which character was he then? He would have
He's
been.
the main character in the
He's
Oh,
bathroom.
okay.
yeah he's the main
Arthur
yeah Arthur Dent.
Arthur Dent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. How about that?
And Sam Rockwell plays Zaphod,
Mhm.
Beeblebrox.
Oh, right, right. And Michelle,
Um,
I couldn't hear you before. Who was the actress you said with the?
Oh, Zoe Deschanel with the bangs.
Oh, I didn't know she was in that. Wow.
Hmm.
yeah,
How about that?
yeah. She's
Yeah.
what's her? I can't remember the name of the character, but the
Oh, who cares?
female,
Yeah,
the
she's
main
the
female
girl.
character.
Hmm.
Yeah, I forget. Trillian or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, Trillian. Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
Like
okay.
she changes her name when she goes to space.
My
Right.
favorite part is at the very end where they have like the feelings gun and they shoot her with it, and she's like, "I'm already a girl. It doesn't work on me."
Yeah, it doesn't work on me. I'm already overly empathetic.
So, had both of you read the book prior to seeing that? I was
Mm-mm.
just.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. I'd read the book and then had watched the movie. So the one part that I really think that they did perfectly justice with the book was, as like, Buddy, with the scene where the whale is falling from space,
Right, right.
and it's learning about his existence as it falls.
Yes.
It's like, what are these things? What are the clouds? That part they did perfectly
Oh,
in
awesome.
the movie, and
I
it
posted that video on my author Facebook page the other day.
Oh,
yeah.
did you?
Because I
Oh,
listen,
okay.
yeah, I listen to it while I work sometimes.
Oh, cool. I'm excited to watch this one now. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
that's my favorite part of the movie. Like, in the book, it's very funny, but in the movie, it's great.
Awesome, awesome.
I wanted to bring up a comment that Carl had put up.
Sure. Go for it.
Simply said, "Basketball."
Oh, you and I have talked about this one before.
Yeah,
That's a good dumb movie. That was one that's pretty enjoyable.
yeah. It's dumb for many different reasons. It's the South Park guys, but it's written by David Zucker, who did a lot of those like, I can't
Airplane, and that's where he started out.
Airplane. Yeah, he was a part of that whole Animal House, that whole crew.
Right. Yeah, he's been around a long time.
Yeah, exactly. And he's done a lot of great things over the years. But with basketball, like, that was in the period in South Park season 2, when they had made a big name for themselves in season 1, because, like, oh, they're so outlandish and so swearing and blah blah blah. It's just little kids and it's cartoon, blah blah. Well, like, holy shit.
I thought that those guys didn't write that. I didn't know that.
No,
Wow.
so they had, at that time, they said, like, the people that were, giving them advice in Hollywood were saying, well, you've made your big name, so what you need to do now is sell out. What you need to do is, do a couple different movies that just have, you attached to them, but you just make the money off them. So they end up doing basketball. And it's really not what they would love, because they did that at the same time that they did the South Park movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what they love, because 15 years later, they look at the South Park movie and said, this is a piece of shit. Because they've been doing South Park for, over, 13 years or something like that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
so they did, basketball at the same time that they did the South Park movie, and it really wasn't anything that they thought about. It was just something that they hopefully will make some money off of.
Right.
And it wasn't loved, except for, by me, of course.
I remember thinking it was pretty funny, but honestly, I haven't seen it more than maybe 1.5 times. But it was pretty funny.
Well, it's just a great story about, these guys that, they see the state of sports and how, it's become commercialized. The people, like, after getting a touchdown, they do almost like a full-on dance afterwards. There's streamers and fireworks, but it's not actual competitivism. It's not actual, something worth actually watching. So they end up creating basketball, a combination of basketball and baseball, as a drinking game, and it becomes a full worldwide sensation.
Mm-hmm. And
drama ensues.
It sounds dumb.
It's very dumb.
It's very dumb. It's very dumb. But like you were saying, the movie wasn't very successful. That one seemed like it was meant to, like, launch the, like, acting careers of, like, those guys. Was it Trey Parker?
But they never ended up really doing much after that.
And also Jenny McCarthy. That was, like, her first big movie.
Yeah,
that she got
that was exactly.
Yeah, and things just didn't. I mean, thankfully they're all still doing well in other avenues. But
yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it's a very stupid movie. There's, like, one part where the two guys have a conversation that's just them saying, dude.
That's
Oh,
what
dude.
All right, since you said that, how about Dude, Where's My Car? Are either of you a fan of that movie?
Yeah. That was one of the first films that, like, when I was younger, and when it first came out, that I had said that I gotta see this film because everyone's talking about it. What is this dude swears my car? And there's all these references that people are talking about. You know, there's Sultan, there's the and there's all these different things that people are always talking about. So I had to see it, and it's a big fun. I will say it's
Yeah.
big fun. Like
It is big fun.
There's no part of the movie that doesn't make you smile, but it's just like that movie and Harold and Kumar. That series, like that's very much what I would consider like that type of comedy. Like
Yeah.
it's you got these couple of characters, two friends, and either they are sorting what out, like in Do Where's My Car, they're figuring out what they did last night. Where's my car? There's all this, like all these things that they can't remember from last night, so they're sorting out their day's events.
Right.
And then with Harold and Kumar, I think that's by the same writers as well. It's just two guys going to White Castle, and there's so much like potential that you can do with these things because you have a simple concept, but then just really exaggerate what's happening.
Right. Which I think might have been a way been started by the Bill and Ted movies. The Bill and Ted movies were so popular, and then you had things like that came later, and like those are good dumb movies too. And they keep talking about they're threatening to do a third one. The Bill and Ted movies. Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping that there is another Bill and Ted movie because, well, one, where the hell has Alex Winters been for all these years?
Well, yeah, good question. Good question.
He's been in Africa with Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, exactly.
They got a little bungalow together.
I figured that he had been like you remember him in Lost Boys, buddy?
Oh yeah. That's right. He was in a lot. Yeah.
I figured he'd been stabbed in at the end of Lost Boys. He's been sitting in that cave in L.A. like for how long? He's just like, have you yelled cut yet?
Michelle, I want to go to my Facebook page here because you mentioned a lot of good ones on the Facebook page. No.
Blew up your Facebook page.
No. It was awesome because I want to refer to some of the ones that you brought up here. And one of the you said Galaxy Quest, which is great, and also your husband had said Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That's a great. You got to love the Python movie. Someone else referred to Python in the comments.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, and Half Baked. Oh, I forgot all about Half Baked.
Yeah.
Is that one of your favorites, Michelle? For this?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's really good. I like it.
Yeah.
Because you enjoy baking.
Baking cookies.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I will say I watched it a very long time ago, but I did watch it a lot, like on repeat, for days at a time.
It was very funny. Who's the actor from Saturday Night Live who was in that?
Jim Brewer.
Yeah, Jim Brewer.
And Dave Chappelle. Is that the tall guy? Jim Brewer?
He's the guy who was like, hey, man, how's it going?
That was really good.
Well, it's just like the full-on atypical stoner. He does it really well because he's actually not like. If you watch him in that film, you would say this guy not only epitomizes the classic stoner. I'm pretty sure he is the classic stoner.
Yeah, like through the whole movie.
He is not. He has 3 kids. He is a perfect family man. No drugs, no alcohol. He just has
He did a good job then.
He has a disposition. He's got these eyes, which is just. And he just does a perfect job pretending to be that stoner guy. He just lives it. He's so good at it.
Who's the tall guy with the brown hair that was like, I don't want to go to jail?
Yeah, no, that's
He has a name and I can never remember it. Anyway, I like him. He was in that movie with the monkey that was like on the Disney Channel or something. Never mind.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, I can't remember his name right now, but I know exactly. Yeah, we will.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. I want to bring this up. David Anson, I guess was here for a little while, but he had to go. But he said, "I'm listening, but working on something." Oh, okay, he's listening. Won't be able to comment. David likes. He's got cool taste in like older things. He said mentions
Mhm.
In Like Flynn. I don't know if either of you are familiar with that. It was a
Yeah.
spoof. Yeah, that's a good one. It was like a spoof of like your James Bond movie that had James Coburn in it. Any Bob Hope film, and also
Wow.
Monty
Really?
Python. Yeah, and that's
Mhm.
true with like I like the really old movies. Now the Bob Hopes, yeah, they might have like the most simple plot in the world, and not much of a plot at all, but you can still get a lot out of them. Just like the old Don Knotts movies,
Mhm.
like what was it, The Incredible Mr. Limpet or something like
Mhm.
that, where he was a fish,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
there was someone where with a ghost. I forget what that was all about. The Ghost in Mr. Chicken.
Uh-huh.
Just these great dumb movies that were made in extreme excess in the 60s and 70s. There's a lot of great dumb movies back then,
Mhm.
but
But they're so
funny.
much cleaner. They're so much cleaner than like Shaun of the Dead or something where you have to like turn it all the way down if your children are awake.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of like not only the old comedies, but like old dramas and everything is that
Mhm.
so because they had to be clean, they made their scripts more clever. And they weren't
Yeah.
relying so much like on, the vulgar humor or on the special effects. They really concentrated on making a good, funny script. So yeah,
Mhm.
these things that are like dumb movies from that era and a lot maybe kids today might think would be like really corny to watch, you're gonna get some funny stuff in there.
Mhm. I agree. I don't know
Well,
who
that's
Harlan
just
Williams is, Xavier.
that's the
Oh
that's who
yeah,
you're
yeah,
talking
yeah. Mhm.
about. The guy from
That's the guy. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, gotcha. I wasn't
Yeah,
sure what
he's
you
the
guys
guy,
were.
and then in Half Baked, he's the guy who's in jail, and he's got the soap, and Tommy Chong has to defend him so that way he doesn't get his prison virginity taken.
I'm gonna not quote that
The
movie
one thing
now.
I
So
loved
moving
about
along.
yeah, the one thing I loved most about Half Baked was that they had Stephen Wright as the guy on the couch.
Oh my gosh, I forgot
Yeah.
about that. Stephen
Mhm.
Wright's brilliant.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and he's one of my favorite stand-ups.
Oh,
Like
he's
just like
great.
he just has like like that voice just in general like so just not blah blah blah. Um,
And just saying such random, bizarre things. Like I remember, I saw him once do a stand-up, and it's one of his more famous lines. But he's like, "I'm not afraid of heights. I'm afraid of wits." It's just like bizarre things.
yeah, my favorite one is my uncle is a weird guy. He's got artificial legs, real feet. Like just like little witticisms that just make you go, "Oh, what the hell." One really bad movie that I wanted to bring up in case I forget about it is the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Oh my gosh. I just saw that the other day again. But I
It's
couldn't watch it the whole way through because it was so
ah
bad.
yeah, it's really bad. You got Bob Hoskins as Mario
Mhm.
and John Leguizamo. I can't
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
can't.
no one can pronounce. He can't even pronounce his name correctly.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's tutorials online, I'm sure.
That was really bad.
Uh,
I tried to make my kids watch it, and I was like, "No, this will be really cute, and it'll entertain you." And they didn't last 10 seconds, and they were out. They said, "This is dumb."
no,
I've
no,
never tried watching that one. I have to
no,
be
it's
honest.
it's it's so fun. Yeah, like I said, Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, and then you got Dennis Hopper as King Koopa.
Oh, I didn't know Hopper was in there. Wow.
Yeah, and that's my favorite part. Like because I'm a big fan of what's Blue Velvet, the David Lynch film with
Oh yes.
with Hopper. I'll fuck anything that moves. Like like I love Dennis Hopper to his full extreme, and in the Mario Brothers film, he almost brings that, but it's on like a PG level. So he's just like, I am the King Koopa. I am a dinosaur. I will rule the Koopa Kingdom. Like he's just like so absolutely insane. And then you got Bob Hoskins coming in like, I'm a plumber. I don't understand what we're supposed to be doing.
Was
And
Hoskins doing an Italian accent in it too? I've never seen it.
it's
Kind
kind of, but
exaggerated.
like but Bob
It's
Hoskins can
really
only
bad.
be Bob
Bob
Hoskins,
Hoskins, yeah. Even in Hulk,
It's
he
like
was still Bob Hoskins. Yeah.
yeah, it's like getting Christopher Walken to do anything. He's just gonna be Christopher Walken. You're like Christopher Walken, like reading Shakespeare, like a rose by other name would not be so. Like it would just be stupid. Like you can't, Juliet. Where art thou, Juliet?
I want to go back to our comments here a second, and this is from Geek Walker, Mr. Carl Sinclair. He says Biodome with Paulie Shaw. So
Yeah,
Oh
good,
yeah.
buddy.
buddy.
I
Juice.
never saw Biodome. It was Pauly Shore and one of those Baldwin boys, right?
Yeah, Stephen Baldwin.
Yeah, because other than Alec Baldwin, the other Baldwins are pretty much interchangeable, I
Yeah, totally. But
think.
I think all the
Yes, they
Baldwins
are.
are interchangeable. They're just big heads.
Yeah.
Just like whiskey
Mhm.
fueled
You
Irish
should watch
guys.
it once, but
Yeah, Pauly Shore. I mean, that was the case with
yeah.
his. I mean, he had a lot of dumb movies. So most Pauly Shore movies were dumb, but you could
Yeah.
usually get some good laughs out of them.
Yeah, you got your Biodome.
And then you could never watch them again and be okay.
You're right,
And
Michelle. They're usually like a
Man.
one time only thing.
Mhm.
Those Pauly Shore movies. You watch
Not
it,
for
you
Mhm.
enjoy it, but then you kind of move on with the rest of your life and you forget about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
it's
for
like
not
a
for
bag of
me.
potato chips. You just put it away.
I like that. That's a good.
Oh, Xavier likes it.
Yeah, I've watched them many a time. They're a lot of fun.
Now,
But
Son-in-Law, I remember. That's probably my favorite of his. I guess that
yeah,
was
right.
the first
Yeah,
one.
I was
That was
I,
the better
I was
one.
thinking about that one the other day. Yeah, Son-in-Law it's okay. But like as far like it's not at like I say it's okay because I don't rate it on a bad scale. I think it's almost getting close to being a decent movie.
Yeah,
It's
that
not
was
just
his
like
probably most mainstream successful movie too.
yeah, it's decent because it's funny, but it has some heartfelt moments. With the with the other Pauly Shore movies, like there's no heartfeltness to it. It's just like it's just really shit. And that's what makes it fun. It's like the Son of the Mask. Have you ever seen the Son of the Mask?
No, why would
See-
anybody watch that?
That was my thinking too.
Yeah, instead of Jim Carrey, they got Jamie Kennedy. That's a good compromise, correct?
Where going
No.
down that road, you've got and it's surprising no one's brought this one up yet for dumb movies. Is the sequel to Dumb and Dumber, of course, great dumb movie.
Yeah. Oh,
One of the ultimate great dumb movies. But then you had the sequel. Was it
Mhm.
Dumb and Dumberer When Harry Met Lloyd?
Mhm.
Did you ever
Yeah.
see that?
hmm
yeah, so bad.
I saw it. I don't
Loved it.
remember it at all.
Yeah, the only thing I remember, like you, I thought it was pretty forgettable, Michelle, and I guess you probably thought the same, Xavier. But
Yeah.
I've always handed it to the two actors who played those roles because they got the mannerisms down perfectly.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the guy that did the Jim Carrey role really did well.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The one thing I always remember is when they're getting on the school bus, and it's a short bus, and they're just like so excited, just saying, like it's a small bus, like all the seats are the back seat of the bus, so everyone is quiet.
Now, did you both see that? Well, you probably have seen that. The real sequel's coming out pretty soon.
Yeah.
They've actually filmed a
Mhm.
sequel to. What's this one called? Is it Dumb and Dumber? I guess probably just two. I think it's
Yeah,
got a
I think it's
subtitle.
2.
Yeah,
Like T-O, like they spelled it
Yeah.
wrong.
Oh yeah. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. I saw a trailer for it, and it looks like it has potential. I'm a little scared.
I don't think so. I think it looks not that great.
Yeah.
I think
I
it
don't
looks
know.
like they're going to take it a little too far, but I can just close my eyes during those parts.
Yeah, I think it's going to be as good as it needs to be. It's not
Mhm.
going to be amazing, but at the same time,
Right.
like it's going to
Yeah.
be dumb.
Well, hopefully it'll be
Right.
more satisfying than Anchorman 2 was for you
Yeah.
and for
And
everybody.
if not, then we'll go back and watch all our favorites and be sad that we lost $9 at the movie theater.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. Speaking of that, like what's the most that you've gone out of your way? Like, like spent money or organized the time or blah 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 to actually watch a bad movie. Like if like you go to like I'm gonna go to the theaters and watch Ghost Rider. I'm gonna watch a Nicolas Cage film.
I did
like
watch
I'm
that,
gonna
yeah.
I'm gonna watch for like half an hour of like, hey, I'm doing a movie, and and then just
I think
Go ahead, Michelle.
I went to when after my son was born, we didn't have a lot of date nights, but I was like, we're gonna have a date night because my favorite thing is to go to the movies, and we went to see Dark Shadows with Johnny Depp, and we almost left. 'Cause
Oh,
it was just
really?
garbage.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
that is
So that was
garbage.
probably the most money I ever spent, and I was like, it was like $20 to get here. We're gonna sit right here. But
It's
I
harder to walk out of a theater now after you pay so much for not only the tickets,
Mhm.
but for your popcorn and for your drinks and all that. I mean, going to the movies is not cheap. Like a date at night is like 40, $50.
Yeah.
It's crazy,
Mhm.
especially if you're going to like a 3D or you're going to the IMAX or something like that. Then it gets ridiculous. And that's what I was disappointed.
Mhm.
Now it's not a dumb movie, like in terms of dumb movies we're talking about, but I saw the Man of Steel movie last year, and to
Oh
me
yeah.
that was a dumb movie.
Ugh.
Yeah, I did not like that. That was a very big disappointment, and I paid the money for it, and I
Mhm.
almost walked out. If I didn't have like a full bag of popcorn in front of me and I had paid that money, I would have walked out.
That popcorn is good.
Damn right it's good, and it's not the same when you take it out of the theater. I could have walked out of the
No,
theater with the
garbage.
It's
popcorn.
not. No.
It's
It's
really
not.
not. Yeah.
No. They take the crack out of the bag when you leave.
Patrick Stemp refers to Hitchhikers. He says, "Buddy, don't watch Hitchhikers if you have a love for the book. Just my opinion." Geek Walker says Martin Freeman is famous because of The Office. Oh, okay. I've never seen the British version of The
Mhm.
Office. He was Tim, the best character ever. The proper show, not the U.S. cruddy one. Ooh, I'm going to disagree with you there, pal. Because again, I've never seen the British version, but I loved the American version.
I watched both, and yeah, that's like I had mentioned The Hobbit and the the other things because that's probably what
Yeah.
people would actually recognize him from nowadays. But yeah,
Right.
he definitely did. He got a start in The Office, and it's like in the American Office how there's Jim, there's Tim
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
in the British
And
one.
the love
Is
interest
the equivalent. Yeah, he's the
is the
equivalent.
best.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Boy, so many comments here. Darren Weremouth says, and this is a movie I have not seen. I hope one of you have seen it. Tropic Thunder. Darren
Yeah.
says it's
No.
fantastic.
It is, yeah. It's like a big spoof on the whole film industry.
Mhm.
Ben Stiller directed it, and I think he might have wrote it.
I'll watch it
Wrote
then.
it.
I think he did wrote it at that. Yeah.
Wrote it. All right, we'll pen that away for later, and then hopefully Merriam and Webster can adopt that for our own means. But it's
It
it's a
looks
very
funny. I've just never seen it.
it's all about like the making of a Vietnam War type film gone wrong. So like you have this crew of actors and producers and all these people trying to make this one film that ends up becoming nonsense because the original writer of the book that the movie's based upon and the director make this asinine plot where they rig the whole jungle with cameras and just loose all this live ammunition and bombs off so that way they can get real emotion out of their actors.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. I do want to see it because I like everybody in it, and I like Ben Stiller as a director and a writer too.
Yeah,
Which
like,
did we mention Zoolander yet?
no,
Oh, okay.
that's a good one.
Yeah, now Lisa and I were talking about that, and that's a great, great dumb movie. Oh my God, that movie is so funny. I remember watching that. I think I watched it, and then I like bought the DVD the next day. I mean, I just loved it. So stupid. So many great lines in there. Christopher Walken again. He was in that as the dad. And then help me. Who's the guy? Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson was great in that movie too.
Hmm.
Fantastic.
Well, and yeah, we're still talking about Zoolander, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. My favorite part is always David Bowie doing the model off, where
Oh,
it's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
both Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson, doing their thing on the runway, and it's David Bowie being the judge. That's always my favorite part.
Great, great stuff there. Did you
Is that
like
the
that one,
is
Michelle?
that the movie with David Duchovny with his hand in
Yeah.
the jar?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, and
I
yeah,
like that
he
one.
was a hand model, so he kept his one hand all preserved and safe, so that way he can, always
That's a
look
good
at it.
movie.
Yeah. Oh, it's so so funny. So, speaking of David Duchovny, Patrick Stent mentioned in the comments Evolution with David Duchovny. I've never seen that
Yeah,
one.
yeah, I like that one. It's David Duchovny and is it Orlando Jones, I think that's his name.
Oh,
Guy
okay. It's not Orlando.
from no,
Oh, okay.
I think Orlando Jones. I think that's guy from Mad TV.
Right, right.
Um, Very funny dude. And it's all about an asteroid lands in the middle of the desert, and it's got all these bacterium in it, and it's kind of like how with the uh, primordial ooze, like how evolution started in from where we were. So there, you got your bacteria, then eventually those become worms, and then they become blah 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 and become mammals eventually down the line, but it's happening very fast. So there's this little rock and this little crater of an area, and slowly over a couple of days, um, instead of taking like a million years for these alien life forms to evolve into higher terrestrial beings, it's actually taken like a couple days. So you've got, you know,
This doesn't
for
sound like a bad movie. It sounds like a boring movie.
it's very funny because like you got just like all these ridiculous things happening in this small town because all these aliens are invading slowly. So like at first there's all these gross worms everywhere, and then there's weird turtles, and then weird pterodactyls, and then suddenly awful ape things. And
Wasn't some big like Academy Award winning actress in that too, where people were like, "What is she doing in this movie?"
are you talking about Julianne Moore?
Maybe. I just knew it was someone who normally didn't do like silly movies, and then she ended up being in that. So maybe it's Julianne Moore.
In which case, she's garbage. That's who you get when you have to do a second Hannibal Lecter movie.
That's right.
You know, I see that Carl here. I mean, he mentions one that I've never seen, but Lisa Stahl, my fiance, I think you're both familiar with her. She had mentioned this one too, and that's Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm pretty sweet with a bow staff. I don't know what that means since I've
Okay.
never seen it.
My favorite part of Napoleon Dynamite is where you. I'm not going to be able to say it. Where you. No, wait. Okay.
Take a breath. It's all good.
No, make my husband type it in the comments.
John,
No,
we may
just
need your
keep
help.
going.
John Reed, we may need your help.
John!
Okay, here.
John!
Lisa mentioned something about
No, it's
tater
with the
tots and
steak.
pockets. I know that.
The part with the steak.
Darren Mermouth says, it's not a mermaid, it's a merman.
Merman. I'm a merman. It's such a good movie. Okay, I'm really
that's right,
curious
I still
now
can't
about
say it.
Napoleon Dynamite. Oh, okay.
It's the part where you.
It's
Michelle.
a part where he...
Michelle, what part is that?
What is it?
I can't do it.
Let's keep pestering.
This is the best thing ever.
Come on! Come on! Tell us! Now!
No, I can't do it.
Do it!
No, he's typing. He's typing it.
Okay.
Type it!
It's not even that funny. It's
John!
just-
John, type it.
John!
They're yelling at you.
Come on!
Xavier, see if you can see that on YouTube when John does it. Okay. Hey, you know, I wanted to mention.
It's just my favorite part.
Oh, okay.
Are you sure?
I want to hear you say it. I still want to hear you say it. Okay. One movie that Darren had commented on my Facebook page. When John brings that up, Xavier, you let me know. But Darren had mentioned This Is Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
That's a
Great
great movie, and that's another one too where it's kind of like on the fence on whether or not it's a dumb movie. I think a lot of people like Xavier. I think you're probably on the same page as me, where you probably view it as like a smart, clever movie. But I think other people might watch that and think, "Oh my God, it's ridiculous."
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
very clever.
yeah, but it's a good movie. And strangely enough, I have the album of the week back here. Michelle, you don't normally watch the show, but I have an album of the week I feature every week. And this one actually somehow relates to Spinal Tap, and I just realized that. Xavier, are either of you familiar with this television show Laverne and Shirley that was big? Okay. Two of the characters on Laverne and Shirley were Lenny and Squiggy. Do you remember them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, they were the next door neighbors, and they occasionally on the show performed as a group, and they put out an album called Lenny and the Squigtones that were like all these like 50 cent. There's like mainly it's original songs, and Michael McKean. Lenny, he has gone on to be a great character actor, and he was in Spinal Tap.
That's awesome.
Right, and he did the songwriting on here, and they're funny songs. But also, now I think you'll find this amusing. Hopefully, you have a shot of their band in here on the sleeve, and I don't know if you can see the third one over from the. You have Lenny, and then you have some black guy. I don't know who he is.
Yeah.
But the one next to him is Christopher Guest.
Yeah.
And and on here he is credited as Nigel Tufnell.
Oh, great!
Who was his character like probably 5 or 6 years later, and this is Spinal Tap.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so
I've never seen that album. That's great. I'll have to check that out.
I'm probably one of the few people that own it. It was not a big hit, but I was a big nerd where I bought anything like related to TV shows for albums, stuff like that.
Well, just like that whole band like Christopher Guest is a great guitar player as much as like Michael McKean is as well, but that whole band like everything they did in Spinal Tap is such a great riff on so many different eras of music. You know, they make fun of the Beatles, they make fun of Iron Maiden, and they make fun of Metallica and that kind of stuff.
The hippie era, because I think their first single was called "Listen to What the Flower People Say." Do you remember that?
Yeah, exactly.
It was great.
Very, very flower people-y, you know, happy Beatles, you know, hello, kind of stuff. Lots of harmonies and big reverb.
Patrick here says, you mentioned Christopher Walken, his two best roles in dumb movies, Balls of Fury and The Rundown. Both awesome. I've never seen either of these.
I love The Rundown.
What is that about? I've never heard it. I don't even think I've heard of that.
Is that the one? Well, you'll have to ask him. But is that the one with The Rock?
Yeah, it's the one with the Rock and Sean William Scott.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
The
Rock's
so grizzly. Like the whole movie just made me feel like I wanted to take a shower, but I really liked it.
Oh, it's so dirty.
Wow.
It was like kind of grody.
Just a lot of running through the jungles and Christopher Walken doing great rants about the Tooth Fairy.
Okay, that sounds good. Now, Balls of Fury, refresh my memory on that one. Have either of you seen that?
It's a ping pong ball championship.
Oh, okay. I remember when that came out, but I never saw it.
I watched it once. I haven't seen it since. It was very stupid. So if it's
What? Xavier thinks a movie was stupid? For real? All right, that's mine.
But I like stupid. But usually I will rewatch things that if it's stupid enough that it doesn't annoy me, I will watch it again.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually
what about, No, keep going.
I said usually there's a line where if it's trying to be stupid, I like it, or if it's so bad that it's stupid, I like it. But if they're trying to be good and it is bad, that's when you can't watch it again.
That's just sad. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want to go back to some of the ones on Facebook because I think you might have even had a couple here, Michelle, that I missed. Some of my other friends had commented here, and I want to everyone who commented, I want to bring it up. I don't know if I'll be able to get to everything, but Drew Avery said, "Idiocracy. I saw it on deployment about 40 times. It's incredibly dumb but endearing in some weird, creepy way."
Yeah.
I would like to see that one. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either.
Yeah, no, you both definitely have to. It's probably one of my favorite I guess, predictions of the future. As long as things go in the way that America seems to be pushing, and this is just me as a Canadian saying, "Hey guys, I know what you're up to." Um,
Real quick, Michelle, do you want to try to do that line again?
No, I'm turning off my camera.
No, no, no. Don't turn off your camera. Don't turn off your camera. I won't ask
No,
you again.
okay. Go ahead, read it. No. Did you see it? He said he typed it.
I haven't seen it pop up, but that doesn't mean it's not there. My thing's.
No.
It's
It's not that funny. You guys are all going to think I'm dumb after you hear it.
is it the liger? That's my favorite part. That's my favorite part about Napoleon Dynamite. He's like, it's a combination of a lion and a tiger. It's a liger.
We do always. Never mind.
Okay.
Never mind.
All right. All right. Well, you compose yourself. I'm going to go on to some other ones here that were on the Facebook. And my friend Bob Dietrich mentioned one of my favorite movies, Amazon Women on the Moon.
Ah, man, I haven't watched that in a while.
That's a funny, dumb movie. Have you ever seen that, Michelle?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's funny. It's boy, what's the best way to describe this? I guess it was made in the late 80s, and it's as if you're watching like late night television back in that time period, where you're watching like a really cheesy old science fiction movie called Amazon Women on the Moon, but there's like it's interspersed with like little commercials for things and different little comedy bits in there. And the old Amazon Women on the Moon. It's got like they even throw in like bad special effects, but then there's commercials that has for a record album called Blacks Without Soul by this guy named Don No Soul Simmons. I posted that video. It's the actor who went on to In Living Color. I forget his name now. But anyway, that's a very, very funny movie. If you ever see that pop up on TV, it's worth watching.
I'll have to watch it.
It's dumb, but it's funny. A lot of cameos in there by people. Even Michelle Pfeiffer has a bit part in there before she got really, really popular. Yeah. Also, a couple people had mentioned Galaxy Quest. My friend Siobhan, she mentioned Dumb and Dumber, which of course we brought up. Like I said, one of the best dumb movies ever. My friend Kat DeSalle mentioned Night at the Roxbury, and she said does the head tilt to What Is Love, which they did in there. Amy
I do that all the time, but nobody does it with me.
My friend Amy Swiss, she mentioned this one that I haven't seen. I think I saw parts of it. Land of the Lost with Will Ferrell. She said
my God.
Oh man, yeah.
Will Ferrell gets pooped out of a dinosaur,
and he drowns himself in dinosaur piss so that way he can, blend in with his surroundings. There's just a lot of really not funny things about it, but it just, if you're watching it to laugh about how bad the movie it is, it's great.
Yeah, you did not care for that one?
I watched the show a lot. Like, I've seen every episode of the show.
Yeah, and you know what? I was same here. I love that show, and I was excited when I saw they were going to do a movie version of it. And then they tore it apart. They didn't stick close to the show at all.
Wrong.
Yeah. What was a funnier spoof in that whole movie was the fact that in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, did you ever see that? Will Ferrell plays a character named Marshall, Will, and Holly.
Yeah.
Which was, the from the theme song, Marshall, Will, and Holly on a routine expedition. And that little joke there in that one movie was probably funnier than all of the Land of the Lost movie. From what I saw, I think I could only watch half of it, and then I turned it off.
Yeah, I definitely.
I didn't make it through the whole thing either.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the whole Kevin Smith stuff.
Yeah.
The one type of movie, like you can like pick apart bad movies and you can name them by genre, because there's a lot of bad sci-fi bad movies. There's a lot of horrible romance movies, but my favorite kind of bad dumb movie out there is Nicolas Cage films.
How am I not in that movie?
Yeah, well, he is probably the best out of our newer generation of actors, like this generation of people that are just making some of the worst shit, because he's so over the top each time. And have you guys seen The Wicker Man?
No. What is it? I don't even know.
The what?
The Wicker Man?
The Wicker
No,
Man.
I've seen The Weatherman.
Yeah.
And that
Oh
was
yeah.
terrible.
Yeah, that was terrible too, and that also has Nicolas Cage. Yeah. No. The Wicker Man is all about Nicolas Cage investigating. There's an island where people seem to be going missing, and it's like a Mennonite island.
Oh, okay.
Like
Hmm.
and he's like a cop that's come to this island and is finding out like there's someone
So it's
missing.
like Shutter Island,
Yeah, kind of, but with
only
Nicolas
not good.
Cage. Yeah. And the whole like Mennonite island seems to be really naturopathic, based around the bees and the
Oh, wow.
elements and stuff, like pagan stuff like that. But there's so many great little moments throughout the movie where it's just like that this whole like community of people is in on this whole conspiracy thing, and Nicolas Cage is just oblivious about it. So like the first like scene of the movie where he gets upon the island, you see like 7 or 8 people pulling this bag that looks obviously like a body. He just like then pulling this body in a burlap sack along the beach, and Nicolas Cage is just looking at it, and he goes like, is that like a shark or something? A shark. He thinks it's a shark. It doesn't make. And it goes on for him to find out that this whole ritualistic society of people are sacrificing people in order to give homage to the bees, so that way they'll have a plentiful harvest in the fall. So it's Nicolas Cage being sacrificed by these women to the bees. So it's just like Nicolas Cage being held down while they're throwing all these bees on top of him. Like, oh no, oh not the bees, not the bees.
So it's like Shutter Island and My Girl.
Yeah, but done like a few years before that, and yeah, My Girl.
My Girl. Wow, there's a combination for it. I love how you pull My Girl out there, Michelle. That's fantastic.
Macaulay Culkin got fucked up by them bees.
Oh, he did. Yeah. Poor little fella.
Oh, poor little guy. How would you know that you were allergic to bees? Now you're dead.
I should Shutter Island and My Girl. I love that.
I should have been doing a counter for the night for how many different impressions I've done.
And well, we haven't even got to Jeff Goldblum yet, but we're going to.
I was doing Jeff Goldblum impersonations today, but it wasn't very good.
I'm trying to find. Apparently, John Reed has a comment here.
Okay. I'm muting myself
never
now.
Give up, never surrender. No. I'm sorry. That's
no, that's Galaxy Quest.
Oh, okay.
Quest.
Never grow up, never surrender.
So Michelle says I can't find that comment from John Reed. What was that particular line?
I can't say it. Yeah, I don't know why. It's a part where he throws a steak at the kid on the bicycle.
Okay, I can't remember what he says either. Yeah, that was really good.
Oh, I've got to see this movie apparently.
Well, it's just
so
good. What's great about Napoleon Dynamite is that it's just such like little jokes all the time. Like it's just something that just like when you're watching like Funniest Home Videos and you see like a kid getting hit with a football and you hear someone just say like, "Oh, good job there." Like great action and reaction. It's not so much about building the plot as just like here's a little scene. And that was good, right?
And then you move on. Okay. Are we done talking about it?
We are.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
back.
All right. We are done. Geek Walker mentioned Leprechaun 4, Space Marines.
Yes.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's right up there with. Is it Leprechaun 5 that is Leprechaun in the Hood?
I believe so. Yeah. I didn't see those. I didn't
I
see
feel
those.
bad for Warwick Davis. You know, like he has to do like
Mhm.
Willow, and then he has to go on to do these shitty Leprechaun films.
Yeah, that sucks.
Carl
Was it?
Carl brought up The Rock. You know, The Rock is such a good shitty movie. Cage and Bay go nuts. Not only because
What?
not only Cage and Michael Bay, like not only Nicolas Cage and Michael Bay, but Sean Connery as well.
I've
So you
never
got
seen that.
The
Yeah,
Rock. It's all
yeah.
about Sean Connery is an ex-convict who's teaching Nicolas Cage how to break out of Alcatraz, so that way they can break into
Oh,
Isn't there a hostage
Alcatraz.
situation or something going
Yeah,
on? Yeah.
Ed Harris is holding Alcatraz hostage so that we can
yeah,
blow
I've
blow
seen
up
that.
blow up
Yeah.
LA or something like that.
That's one that I
Mhm.
saw like in the theaters when it came out, enjoyed it enough, but I haven't watched it since then, and I'm okay with that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that is my favorite Michael Bay film because that's before Michael Bay became Good George.
Michelle, you had mentioned another one that I wanted to ask about because I've never seen actually any of them, and that's Final Destination. Oh, good.
Yeah, I've seen them all. I don't know if that. It's not like dumb movies, like quirky dumb. It's just
No,
really dumb.
they are really really dumb.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And they're not really that good, but I just watch them all. It's like I watch all the Resident Evil movies and I watch all the Final Destination movies,
Now, remind me,
yeah.
what
whether or
are
not.
the Final Destination movies? What's the story there? Obviously, there's a destination in mind.
That's about like
Some people. Yeah, go ahead. You tell it.
a bunch of people who they board a plane. It crashes, and the guy wakes up after it crashes, and he's had this whole premonition of the plane crashing, and he manages to save himself and a couple of his friends from the plane crashing. But they were supposed to die on that plane, so death is like fixing that
Coming
problem.
after him.
So
Hmm.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so in the order that they were supposed to die on the plane, they are being because with the plane crash, it goes down, the explosion spreads from the tip to the back, so you have people in seat one are going to die first versus the people in seat five. So you have slowly these people are supposed to have died, and they're dying in the same order that they should have died on the plane.
Oh, okay.
But the whole point is they die in like really strange ways. Like one girl. No, that's in a different one.
Yeah,
They're
it's
just really
also,
strange, and it's
yeah,
things that make you
die of circumstance.
cringe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty interesting, I
The
think.
worst one was where the girl like died from when she was getting like laser eye surgery, and I was like, well, I'm never getting that. That was terrifying.
Yeah, exactly. Or like when the I think it was like number 3 or 4 where the lady like dies like in a tanning bed. It just like
Yeah, yeah.
somehow increases to full and shorts out so that way it can't turn off, and then
Yeah, it's not really possible. Did you see the one with
Yeah.
where the gymnast and she folded in half backwards?
Yeah, it's
That was
great.
disgusting.
Yeah, why the fuck not? It doesn't
Man,
make
I'll tell
any
you,
sense, but just die. Why not?
before the end of the summer, I had planned on getting LASIK surgery and going to the tanning bed a few more times. Now I
Don't
don't.
watch the movie.
Hey, now here's a really dumb movie. I doubt either. Maybe you might know this, Xavier, because it was a Canadian movie. Did you ever hear of Pandemonium?
Yeah,
I've
I
Yeah,
heard
it's
of
a
never
it.
very obscure spoof movie from the early '80s, and I don't know if you're familiar with Tommy Smothers. He was part of the Smothers Brothers comedy act. They were big in the '60s and '70s. Anyway, Tommy Smothers is a Canadian Mountie, and he's investigating murders at a cheerleading camp. And there's like this string of murders at a cheerleading camp, and it's this great spoof on like the horror movies, especially the early '80s movies. And his deputy, Tommy Smothers' deputy, is Paul Rubens, like right before he hit it big as Pee Wee Herman. Except his character is sort of like Pee Wee. And this is a movie that it's never been released on DVD, at least not here in the United States. It's probably hard to find. I tried to buy a bootleg copy of the DVD, and it was like $100. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. But that's another great dumb movie. I mean, Tommy Smothers is a Canadian Mountie investigating murders at a cheerleading camp, and Pee Wee Herman is his deputy. So I think we
Why
lost
not?
Michelle for a second, but Michelle's back now. Welcome
Great.
back,
Sorry,
Michelle.
my internet.
I just saw David Anson posted this. Uh, did anyone mention Birdemic?
Oh, we have not mentioned Birdemic.
Have either of you guys seen it? I've
I
seen it.
haven't.
I've seen it and the sequel.
I
Ooh.
want to because our mutual friends, the guys from the self-publishing podcasts, have mentioned that. I think they did a show about it. I'm Better Off on Dad, or maybe on self-publishing podcast.
Yeah.
Pretty bad, Xavier.
Oh, it's kind of like the how-to tutorial on how not to make a film. Over 2 years. It took 2 years to make it. That first film, like the Birdemic #1 Shock and Terror, and it's kind of like one of those like great disaster pieces where you hear about the actors, what they went through during the time, and it just makes you cringe. And through the experience, both like the girl Whitney and the guy Alan, whatever is, they both have gone on to become good friends because of this horrible experience of making the shittiest film ever, and even managed to push the second film to come out because it became such a great cult success because it was so bad and so funny. Because if you're watching it, it's kind of like like film 101 of what not to do.
Right.
The cameras are all tilted. The sound is just
Like the Blair Witch Project.
Oh
well,
yeah.
Even worse than that, when you got someone just like,
Oh,
hey,
no.
hi. Like,
It sounds as if like Ed Wood was reincarnated and made this movie.
but even Ed Wood had a technical aspect to him. He knew how to make a film.
Right.
He was not. He had a vision of making his own individual, like Ed Wood, like the whole all those films.
Right.
He knew what he was doing, but what he was doing was bad.
Right.
With James Nguyen or Nguyen, or I don't know how to pronounce that last name because it's Thai and it's multiple different pronunciations with it. That guy, he does not know what he's doing, but thinks that he does it well.
I've heard that he like really thinks that his stuff is fantastic.
Yeah, you can
Like
go
Michael
on.
Bay.
Like Michael Bay.
No. Unfortunately, with Michael Bay, people confirm with him that what he's doing is decent
Sorry,
enough.
go ahead.
With Michael Bay, it's good enough for people to pay it. With Nguyen, that guy, you could actually go on Skype and you can pay him I think it's like $300 or something like that, and you can have like a 2-hour conversation of how to make films with this guy. And I'm waiting to the point that I have like that amount of money to just splurge on stupid things, so that way I can sit there and just like, tell me, James, how do I make a film? I really want to know, because you know what? After all these years, I'm coming to you.
Hey, I noticed it too that Darren had mentioned earlier, Shaun of the Dead. I never saw that. Have either of you seen that?
Oh, you haven't seen Shaun of the Dead?
I just
No.
watched it last week.
Oh, okay. That's one I've heard that I should watch.
Yeah, no, definitely. I figured that'd be a one that would be a crucial buddy watch.
Yeah, I think it should be on my
It
list.
would be.
Yeah, and
But you have to watch all 3 of them.
Yeah.
oh, okay. I didn't realize there were that many. Wow.
Well,
Well,
it's all-
sort of.
they're all unrelated. It's there's Shaun of the Dead, and then there's Hot Fuzz, and then the recent one, The World's End.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Which one is your favorite, Xavier?
I really like Hot Fuzz. That's my favorite.
Oh, cool.
Just because it's
Good
such a it's such a silly concept. With Shaun of the Dead, you got those 2 characters versus zombies,
Mm-hmm.
and then in Hot Fuzz, you got the same dynamic between those 2 guys, but they're cops. And
Oh, okay. So it's the same actors over and over again? Are they playing the same characters?
no, always different characters,
No.
same
Oh, okay.
actors, and they have a certain different thing about them. The
Oh,
one
okay.
thing, it's the Blood and Ice Cream trilogy or something like that. There's always a point.
Uh-huh.
I love that. The Blood and Ice Cream trilogy. That's
Yeah,
great.
it's like every, in each of the
No, my
films,
husband was
there's
telling me the
always
cornettos link them all together.
yeah, there's a certain point in each of the films where they stop off at a corner store and get a certain type of ice cream.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool.
And that's the only real correlating thing between the series.
Interesting.
And a lot of F-bombs.
Yeah. So in the second one, they're cops, and Simon Pegg plays like the really hard-ass cop, moving to the small town, and he's used to this, fast-paced London life, and he's trying to understand how he can be of benefit in this small town where there's nothing going on. So he's unraveling this conspiracy, and at first he doesn't know if it's actually just him being ridiculous about it, but he unravels this small town is up to no good eventually.
Oh, okay, cool. Hey,
And then don't say anything else because he'll want to watch it.
yeah, I
Yeah,
kind of want to see these now. I'm looking at the time, and we've gone really long with this one. I had no idea it had been this long, but I want to talk about one more that Michelle had mentioned because it's a classic movie, and that's Beetlejuice.
yeah.
Yeah, that's one of your favorites, Michelle?
I like it. I have a Beetlejuice shirt, and I wear it, and it's just a striped shirt, and I wear it under all my other shirts, and then I'll pull my sleeves up, and I'll say Beetlejuice 3 times, and everybody thinks I'm stupid, but they always laugh.
It's such a
I do
funny
it, like, in
movie.
the school line, picking up my kids. Yeah.
That's awesome. Michael Keaton, I love Michael Keaton in comedies, and Michael Keaton doesn't seem to do as many comedies as he used to. Like when he first broke out with Night Shift, the old early '80s movie with Henry Winkler,
Yeah.
where they're the guys working in a morgue and they turn it into like this whorehouse basically.
Yeah.
It's and
Big party scene.
Yeah. He was great in that, and of course, Mr. Mom, and other comedies that he's done. But and Beetlejuice, he was able to just go nuts with that character. I mentioned this on another show, but I don't know if I can't remember if it was Sunday Night Fiction Club or Buddy's Writing Show. But are either of you? Do you watch Community?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I started to watch Community. Yeah.
I've only watched Community here and there, and I've always liked it, but I just read about the most amazing thing that they did on Community, and it makes me want to watch the show more and more. Apparently, they stretched out a joke on there over like 2 or 3 seasons related to Beetlejuice. You know about this, Xavier?
Yeah.
Where a character said Beetlejuice, I guess, in one season, and then like so many episodes later, the character said Beetlejuice. Yeah, and it happened 3 times, and then you see Beetlejuice walk in the background of the scene. I want to watch the show more just because of that, the devotion that they made to this one little joke. I think they spread it out over over 2 seasons. That's fantastic.
They do. Yeah, no, and that's probably one of the best parts about Community, how they have these really like nerdy jokes that really just push on, and they milk it for the right amount of time.
Right, you gotta love that.
Yeah, and Beetlejuice is such like a perfect thing to pull up on. Like it's just such a funny thing. Like Michael Keaton in that role is just so fun. Like the one part that I always laugh about is when he's like listing off his qualifications. It's just like, well, I was here this time, and I survived the Black Plague. I've read The Exorcist about 50 different times. And it keeps getting better every time I see it.
Now, Xavier, let me ask you: how do you think Jeff Goldblum would have pulled off that role, that particular speech? How do you think he would have done that?
That would have been like, so I've been around for a little while. I survived the Black Plague. I've seen The Exorcist about 53 million times, and it keeps getting further every time that I see it.
Perfect. All right, I think that's a great way to end the show, and I want to thank
and you
both
got to
of
stutter.
Exactly.
It stutters a lot.
Thank you.
I want to thank both of you so much for being on the show. Like I said, it was so much fun. Totally lost track of time. You
Yeah,
guys came
what
up with
time
great movies.
is it
Hey,
like
I
an
got
hour?
a.
Do we go for like an hour and a half here?
I think we went a little over an hour and a half, so this might be a record for Sunday Night Fiction Club.
Yes.
Yes, we set a record. We set a record. So Xavier, you've been on a few times, so I thank you for returning. Michelle, first appearance on the show. Thank you so much. Definitely want to have you back on again. And so many great live comments. I know I wasn't able to get to all of them, so I apologize for
Thank
that.
you.
Everyone who watched live, thank you so much for watching. If you catch it out later, thank you for watching then too. And tomorrow night, I just want to plug this on Buddy's writing show. I'm going to be interviewing Mr. Scott Richards.
Yeah.
Not sure what time that is yet, but I'll be posting about it. And that's about it. Michelle, do you have any new release info for people who might be watching the show? Do you know when the book's coming out yet? Michelle? Michelle, are you still here? Well, I think Michelle might be frozen, but
Yeah.
Michelle's gonna be having a new book coming out soon.
Oh.
Michelle, you there? Michelle Reed, starting to hear you.
Oh my God.
Anyway, look for Michelle Reed on Facebook.
I heard another sound.
I know. It's like, oh, is she gonna talk? Is she gonna
It's just.
It's a great frozen picture.
Third time's the charm.
Oh, okay. I'm starting to hear her. Oh, I think Michelle's back.
Giggle. Giggle.
There's a great frozen picture on my screen. Michelle just like this.
All right, I'm gonna stop laughing.
Thank you.
Okay, Michelle,
All
it looks
right,
like
can you
you're
hear
back
me now?
live. Yes, it can. It can. I was just mentioning that you have a new release
Okay,
coming out
it's
soon.
on Wednesday.
Oh, on Wednesday. That's great. And this is book 2 of The Invisibles.
Mhm.
Is that right? The Invisibles series? Yes. Okay. I just want to make sure I got that right.
Uh-huh.
And and so people look for that. And you can find Michelle on Facebook. And definitely
Michelle Reed.
Yes, Michelle Reed.
It's author Michelle Reed.
Author Michelle Reed, correct. And Xavier Granville has a book coming out soon as well. That's Dinosaur Noir.
Yeah, Dinosaur Noir #1 will be coming out, and at the same time, I'll probably be putting out a short story that's a prequel to the novel, and I'll be trying to put it for free immediately, and then by August I'll be putting out a sci-fi book, and by September I'll have the sequel to Dinosaur Noir #2 out.
Oh, fantastic. That's great. Well, I wish you both luck with those things, and I thank you again for being on the show. And everyone, please check out their stuff and tune in again next week for Sunday Night Fiction Club. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye.